Welcome to the Central Indiana Sports Report's Class A Sectional 46 preview with Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader, Grant Shouse of the Action Sports Network, and we were also joined by Richie Hall of the Hamilton County Reporter and Sam Wort of WILL and Kaspar Media to talk about the 5-team sectional that is Sectional 46. Before we get to our interviews and our predictions at the end, just want to let you know what's going on with the Central Indiana Sports Report. We got IU, Purdue, Pacers, Colts, Fever, and IndyCar weekly reports, plus previews and reaction podcasts. We also have our high school football preview and prediction show every week on Thursday, although this week it's going to be a little later on Friday because we were so busy with the sectional previews. And Michelle and I will be back for our scoreboard show late Friday into Saturday. We will also be previewing our 5A and 6A sectionals next week. It would help us out a ton if you would hit the like button and subscribe to the Central Indiana Sports Report. Hitting that like button is more important than you might think. It really does help spread the word about the Central Indiana Sports Report. And before we get to our interviews and our predictions with Grant and Michelle at the end of the podcast, let me go over the sectional draw. And this is a 5-team sectional with a hole left by Tri-Central folding its varsity football program this year. So the only game this week will be 3-5 Clinton Central at 5-4 Cloverdale, with the winner hosting Indianapolis Tinley next week. So the winner of that should be in the sectional championship game. And on the other side of the bracket, it's 6-2 Sheridan, without question the favorite coming into the sectional. In fact, in all of our sectional previews, this may be the one with the biggest favorite. However, they probably play the second best team in the sectional, and that is 3-5 Clinton Prairie. Sheridan beat the Gophers 40-6 on September 19th. We start the podcast with Richie Hall of the Hamilton County Reporter. Then we'll hear from Sam Wort up in Clinton County. And then Michelle and Grant and I will be back to make our predictions for Sectional 46. We continue our preview of Class A Sectional 46, which this year is a 5-team sectional because Tri-Central discontinued its varsity season. And the only game this week is Clinton Central versus Cloverdale. But we wanted to bring in Richie Hall from the Hamilton County Reporter to talk about Sheridan, the heavy favorite in this sectional.
This has been a very interesting season for Sheridan. The first time in almost 60 years that they have a new coach. But Jake Chesney, I think, has done an excellent job. He's guided Sheridan to a 6-2 record. And of course, and I'm looking here, 5-0 against 1A teams, 2-0 against their two. Clinton Prairie, of course, they beat 40-6 in last month, and they also beat Clinton Central 40-0. This has been a great. This Sheridan, of course, is coming out their first new coach in 60 years. But Jake Chesney has just done an excellent job. He's guided the Blackhawks to a 6-2 record. They're playing Clinton Prairie next Friday, because of the 5-team sectional, and they beat Clinton Prairie 40-6 in the regular season. And then I saw they played Clinton Central 40-0 right before that game. So Sheridan has definitely got a very good test to win the sectional. They are they have won their past 3 sectionals in 22, 23, 24, so this will be the first straight we'll do it again. It's fun for me this year, the fact that it seems like every year there's always one, Sheridan, of course, is a winning team. Oh, that have been historically, and it hasn't really changed very much over 100 Jake Chesney, but they always find one runner who always seems to dominate the game, seems to always be the leading rusher. This year they have 2. Alex Cravens has 742 yards total rushing. Hayden Alexander, he's a junior, 727 yards. Cravens has 48 touchdowns. Alexander scored 9 touchdowns. And John Barnes has 361 yards, 7 touchdowns. So, the running game is definitely still winning. It's definitely still winning for them.
Yeah, Richie. For you, I take it that, and I picked them to win, Carol, because I figured they would be fired up after taking the smackdown that they did at Eastern. I'm going to guess they learned a lot from that Eastern game. Did you talk to the coach? Did he say anything?
I talked to him after the Carroll game, and he said that the guys really answered the call. The coach said his team was just aware of how disciplined Carroll was, its type of offense. So he said they tweaked the defense. And then they also won the line of scrimmage and made the big plays in the big moments. I wasn't at the Eastern game, so I couldn't really tell you about that. But I know that, you always expect them to make adjustments, and it sounded like that's what Chesney was saying, and they did.
How would you assess Coach Chesney's, I don't want to use the word performance, but his how he's adapted to being a head coach and how they've adapted to him?
I think it's all gone pretty well. Well, one thing last year, he was technically named the associate head coach. I think that's what the title was, associate, with Kevin Wright, who, of course, now is doing amazing things at Carmel again. So, he's been, Chesney had been an assistant coach with Sheridan for quite a while, so it's not like he just, came in out of the blue and just jumped in. Of course, he played for Sheridan, so, he obviously pretty much knows Sheridan football. He was part of the history, part of the tradition. I don't really, based on the way they played, and I don't really think they changed too much. Like, there's nothing radically different about, the Bud Wright years. I think it's just basically maybe he's made his own little tweaks here and there, and his own little, own little systems here and there. But really, based on the success they've had running the ball, and the fact they have had two strong runners and Clayton and Alexander, it's really been pretty much business as usual.
Continuing our preview of Class A Sectional 46, let's talk with Sam Wort of Kaspar Media and WILL in Clinton County. The only first-round game this week is 3-5 Clinton Central at 5-4 Cloverdale, a sectional that was supposed to have 6 teams, but Tri-Central did not make it through the whole season. So really good opportunity for both Clinton Prairie and Clinton Central in a sectional that's, let's start with Clinton Central, and tough win at Cloverdale.
I appreciate you having me on, Greg. I think this is exactly what Clinton Central wanted, though. With the off week last week, not playing Tri-Central, they wanted to get a game in for this first round. And like you said, there's only 5 teams in this sectional, so there's only one first-round game. So they wanted to play this week. And drawing Cloverdale, it's a tough matchup, but you're going to have to beat some tough teams in sectional football. And I'm interested to see what this Cloverdale team looks like with a very balanced attack, running and throwing. Clinton Central, they're going to ground and pound. They're going to run the football a lot. And Creed Menon and Amron Barrett, those are their 2 backs, and they're going to run the football a lot. And we'll see if they can kind of run it down Cloverdale's throats and maybe set up the pass a little bit. But we'll see.
The Bulldogs started the season 2-0, and then they really struggled offensively, lost 5 in a row. But their last game a couple of weeks ago against Delphi was by far their best performance of the year, a 40-20 win. They have to be feeling pretty good.
They're feeling great after that win, and that was the first time they really got tested all year, because they beat Frankfurt 30-0, and then they got to Faith Christian back in week 2. But that was the first game they got to a good football team, and they stuck with them. Clinton Central opened up the scoring, had some good special teams plays. I think they recovered an onside. That was the first big test. And then last week for Delphi to go out and beat Taylor, I think that has to mean something to Clinton Central too, for a team that lost to Taylor pretty handily, for a team that they beat to go and beat Taylor. That has to give them some confidence going into this Cloverdale matchup. But definitely playing their best football last week or a couple weeks ago, and see if they can kind of carry that over into Cloverdale.
And as we mentioned, Clinton Prairie, like Sheridan and Tinley, drew first-round byes. The Gophers draw Sheridan, the favorite in the sectional, in the first round. Been a little bit of an inconsistent season for the Gophers.
It really has been. I think turnovers have been the biggest key, and I've talked with head coach Kurt Schlicker a lot this season, and He's talked about the inconsistencies that he's seen from his team. They go with the multi-quarterback system. It's very interesting. You don't see that a lot in 1A high school football, but they've got two different quarterbacks. One's a lefty, one's a righty. One can sling it. One's a little bit more mobile. And they've leaned on Gage Kuzmich. He's a little bit more mobile quarterback. They've leaned on him a little bit more lately, and I expect to see him a little bit more in this game. But if they can limit the turnovers, I actually think this will be a really good game, because Eastern is a team that throws the ball a lot, and they can run it too. But I think they kind of are similar to Clinton Prairie, in a team that wants to throw the ball and can run the ball too. But Eastern put the tape out on how to beat Sheridan, and they kind of handed it to them 47-18 a few weeks ago. So if Clinton Prairie can kind of replicate what Eastern was able to do against Sheridan, I think we'll have a really good football team, but a really good game, I should say. And we'll see if Hunter Cooper, he's the running back for Clinton Prairie, if he can get back to full health. He hurt his ankle a few weeks ago and has just not been the same guy. He has not been playing a lot of offense, really been only playing defensive line. And so they've been going 5 wide and slinging the ball around quite a bit. If Hunter Cooper is back for Clinton Prairie and he's fully healthy, that adds just another dynamic weapon to that Clinton Prairie offense. And if they can stay consistent and not turn the ball over, I think we'll get a good game.
We heard from Richie Hall and Sam Wort as we continue our preview of Class A Sectional 46. I think of all of our sectionals, this one is the most obvious who's going to be the champion. It sure seems like Sheridan, Cloverdale, and Clinton Prairie might have something to say about that. Guys, Michelle, anybody not taking Sheridan?
I'm taking Sheridan all the way. Sheridan will be thinly in the championship.
I'm taking Sheridan as well. I'm very high on them to try and make a deep run in the tournament. Give me the Blackhawks to win that sectional.
And it's a pretty obvious sweep. Congratulations to Jake Chesney on a great first season and a pending sectional championship. All three of us believe. Thanks, guys. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks so much to Grant, Michelle, Sam, and Richie for joining us. Please do us a favor and go subscribe and follow.